for application architecture. And we see over here kind of a general representation of how the MVC works. So at the very bottom layer, we have something welded in that we use our templates, our views, things like that. So in a .NET architecture, for instance, there's the MVC, the V part of it. You create your templates and it compiles those together and it sends those out. Python, Ruby on Rails, all of them have various approaches to this. But somewhere in the middle or the bottom part of this stack, you have a view layer. Then we have a controller and an application logic layer. At least that's what they tell us with MVC, is that we should make sure that all of our controller and application logic sits entirely within that layer and doesn't mix in with the model or with the view. And then we have the model that kind of sits in between both of them. The view uses the model and the controller uses the model. The model gets its data from the database, so you have data transfer back and forth to the database layer over here. And then at the very kind of top of this stack, we have a web server. So we have something like Apache or IIS or Nginx or something else like that that's actually taking the incoming request on a port 80 and translating it to a request for some content. And of course, we have the web. And then we have this thing over here, which is really what we've seen the explosion in. We've seen so many different clients, mobile clients, and various different desktops in the browser wars. There's so many different browsers. There's JavaScript engines, rendering engines galore. And so this is really where we've seen the most explosion, and what we've seen with Web 2.0 applications is that to create a truly compelling experience, we have to have a pretty thick and pretty complex JavaScript version of our application. This is, again, not just the presentational logic. This is handling all of our AJAX requests. Some applications even go so far as to duplicate a mini version of the MVC model inside the client layer. So you may have a JavaScript version of MVC where you've transferred your data, representing it as an object-oriented model, etc. And all that information, all of that representation, all of it has to transfer over the wire through the web. So, what's my motivation? If this is a standard thing that we've seen for 20, 30 years, certainly 15 years of web applications, what's my motivation for wanting to even talk or challenge some of these ideas? There's a few that I want to kind of highlight. The first one is performance. As Mitch kind of mentioned,